Hey guys, and welcome to day 35 of Lent. And today we're looking at Jesus being arrested. And we're looking at this through Luke's Gospel, chapter 22, verses 39 to 53. Jesus headed, as usual, for the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. When he came to the place, he said to them, "Pray that you won't come into the trial." He then withdrew from them about a stone's throw and knelt down to pray. "Father," he said, "if you wish it, please take this cup away from me. But it must be your will, not mine." An angel appeared to him from heaven, strengthening him. By now he was in agony and prayed very fervently, and his sweat became like clots of blood falling on the ground. Then he got up from praying and came to the disciples and found them asleep because of sorrow. "Why are you sleeping?" he said to them. "Get up and pray so that you won't come into the trial." While he was still speaking, a crowd appeared. The man, named Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He approached Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said to him, "Judas, are you going to betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" Jesus' followers saw what was about to happen. "Master," they said, "shall we go in with the swords?" And one of them struck the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. "Enough of that," said Jesus, and healed the ear with a touch. Then Jesus spoke to the arresting party, the chief priests, the temple guards, and the elders. "Anyone would think I was a brigand," he said, "seeing you coming out like this with swords and clubs. Every day I've been in the temple with you, and you never laid hands on me. But your moment has come at last, and so has the power of darkness." One of the most notable changes in my life in the last 30 years, apart from increasing baldness, has been my changing attitude to one of the sports that I loved as a young man. I learned to rock climb when I was at school, and for 10 or more years I did as much of it as I could, never with great skill, but always with huge enjoyment. But now, though I love walking in the hills, I have no desire whatsoever to find myself with my toes wobbling on tiny ledges and my heels suspended over a few hundred feet of fresh air. Apart from anything else, there is a peculiarly tragic aspect to many mountaineering accidents. The rope that's supposed to save, by joining the climbers together, can also kill. However well prepared the climbers may be, it sometimes happens that when one person falls, they pull the other climbers off the rock as well. One person's downfall can take the others with them. That is what Jesus was most anxious to avoid in this passage. The disciples didn't understand what he was doing or saying, but with hindsight we can see it. He knew not only that he would be arrested, tried, and killed, but that it was his God-given vocation that this should be so. But he also knew that he must go alone into the hour and power of darkness. When rebel leaders were rounded up, their associates were frequently captured, tortured, and killed along with them. It was vital that this shouldn't happen to Peter and the rest. Jesus would fall, but he mustn't drag them down with him. His vocation was to give his life for the sheep, not to have them killed as well. In any case, they were the ones who would carry his mission forward in the days to come. He had prayed for Peter particularly, and it was vital that he and the others should stay out of the process that would shortly engulf him. That's why he tells them to pray, that they may escape the trial. What trial is he talking about? And at one level, it's the trial that Jesus knows will await him once he's arrested, but this trial will be only the human and earthly version of the greater trial that is coming on Jesus, on Israel, on the whole world. "Your moment has come," he said to the arresting party, "and so has the power of darkness." Like many Jews of his day, Jesus believed that Israel's history, and with it world history, would pass into a moment of great terror and darkness, unspeakable suffering and sorrow, and that God's redemption, the coming kingdom, and all that it meant would emerge on the other side. This would be the trial, the test, the great tribulation. Unlike any other leaders of the day, Jesus believed that it was appointed his appointed task to go into that darkness, that terror, all by himself, to carry the fate of Israel and the world through to the other side. He would face the trial, in both senses, alone. Only this explains the horror that Jesus faced in the garden. Others, Socrates famously, thousands of martyrs, Christians and non-Christian alike, in fame or obscurity, have gone to their deaths, including horrific and agonizing ones, with apparent equanimity. Jesus had just celebrated the meal at which he had not only foretold his own death, but given his own key to what it would mean. Why did he now shrink? The best answer is that he knew this death would carry with it the full horrors of darkness, of God-forsakenness. He was going to the place where the evil powers of the world could and would do their worst at every level. And part of the torture was precisely the mental agony, the insistent questioning, perhaps there would be another way. Maybe he'd misread God's signals. Maybe, as with Abraham when he was about to sacrifice Isaac, now that he'd come this far perhaps, God would do something new, which would mean he didn't have to go through with it. Luke's addition of the medical detail about Jesus sweating drops of blood has been confirmed by modern research. Under conditions of extreme stress and horror, this can and does happen. And in the middle of it, the disciples still didn't understand what Jesus' kingdom, his message of peace, was all about. Their attempts at defending him missed the point just as much as the swords and clubs of the guardsmen. He was neither a revolutionary fighter nor a military messiah, but the time for explanations had passed. The hour of darkness had come, and nobody would see clearly again until the new dawn 3 days later. So, for reflection today, how does Jesus' anticipation of both human trial and a greater spiritual trial reveal his understanding of the larger cosmic battle between good and evil? How can we find strength and resilience in the face of personal and collective trials? Explore the profound agony Jesus experienced in the garden and his momentary hesitation. What does this reveal about the weight of the darkness and God-forsakenness he was about to endure? How does Jesus' struggle with the possibility of another way reflect the tension between human desires and divine purposes? Well, thanks for joining me, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.